Happy day, and welcome to the Sheila C Hill Show. And that C stands for come on in this room and have a sit down so we can chit chat just for a little while. Listen, the Sheila C Hill Show is the ultimate go-to podcast for ambitious individuals who want to live a more fulfilling and successful life, to get valuable insights, expert tips, and inspiring stories. Listen, I just need you to subscribe and join a like-minded community whom I call Sheila's Thrive Tribe. Just subscribe to the show and we'll be glad to welcome you on in. Listen, but if you are new, I am your host, Sheila C Hill. Welcome. Hello, hola, bonjour, como está, ni hao, howdy, and what's going on? Please call Mama and them. Tell them the Sheila C Hill Show is on and let them know we have a special guest in the house on today. Listen, this is part 2. So if you have not heard part 1, please go back and go over part 1 because listen, our guest today, we have a celebrity lawyer, attorney up in this joint today, and I'm so excited to have her here. We do have attorney Dorna Jenkins, say her whole government name, attorney Dorna Jenkins Taylor from Taylor and Associates. Listen, thebomb.com is more than that, okay? With over 20 years in practice of law, Dorna Taylor stands ready to assist you with legal and business matters, big or small. Even though she's a celebrity attorney, she worked with the regular common folk like us too. All right. So don't think she can't help you. Believe me, she can. She is committed to help you make a fresh start, whether you are a startup or is someone about to formalize your business, or a creator. Are you a content creator? Are you a creator in your business and you need protection to protect your work? Yeah, this is what she does. And she is there for you. Even if you're an individual who struggled to pay your debts, she got you. So Dorna assures her clients of top-notch service banked on integrity, professionalism, and compassion. Listen, she is everything we need. Welcome to the stage, Miss Attorney Dorna Taylor.
I need to take you with me everywhere I go. Just to keep me hype.
Yes, sis, I'm your hype girl.
Yes.
Come on.
So glad to be here.
You deserve it, and it's such a pleasure to have you on the Sheila C Hill Show. We're going to just dive right into this because, listen, part 1 was so good.
I really want to know how these people are doing. Goodness, I miss them. And in part 1, when you were reading, and so people, you have to go back and watch part 1 of this because Sheila read a couple of passages in her expressive way of reading. I almost cried hearing you recount things I went through and didn't cry when they were happening.
Wow.
Because I get,
you get
tunnel
focused.
vision, and I'm just doing what I got to do, doing what I know how to do. And so I'm starting to feel what people feel when they read it as I'm hearing it. I know when I go to do the audiobook, that's going to be tough, which is why I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
Because you have to give yourself grace to move through life at a pace that's comfortable. That's something I wasn't doing in the book, in the story. I was moving at a pace that was too fast for my heart. And every time I did that, it was going to be a setback. And so I've learned the lesson from that. So I move at a pace that's comfortable for my heart and for my emotions so that I don't become overwhelmed. I work the same way. I take clients that I want to work with. So I'm not in here like, oh, I got all this stuff to do. I just choose not to be in that kind of space. Now, again, I'm 51 years old. When I was 20, 30, 40, I was doing everything that needed to get done. So if you're in that grind phase of your life, that's okay. Grind on. You'll come out of that. So I'm out of that now, but
wow,
it's just whatever you have in you. It's why we identify with music so much, right? People write a song and we just love the song and it's speaking to us, whether it's the melody or the words. They're expressing something that we feel, but we haven't expressed. If you have something in you that people can benefit from, share it. You just don't know.
Definitely.
You just don't know who you can bless.
And one thing that I noticed when you were writing, that you sort of secluded yourself of what you took in.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't do a lot of TV, you didn't do a lot of outside noise, reading other books because you want to stay true to that. You had so much discipline of doing that, and that was key.
Yes. I was remembering, imagine if you went back and wrote a book about the past 4 years of your life. You need to be able to remember. And everything was coming from memory. I didn't have to check notes. At the end, just for editing purposes, we went back and checked dates, checked
Okay.
text messages, checked photographs to make sure a couple of days I had mixed up in the
Okay.
early days that my son was like, no, Mom, this didn't happen. This happened the same day Daddy passed.
Okay.
Those days were a blur. So I had some of those days messed up. But I just really wanted to turn off the noise. I would write late at night, candles. That's my
Yeah.
process. Candles lit. It smells good. I'm comfortable. I'm cozy. I feel safe. I have a
Yeah.
little deck here at my home that I call my Zen deck that the girls put together for me after William passed away. It's just like a meditation place of peace where
Yes.
nobody can fit out there but me. My house is large, but that little space is small, and I can just kind of cocoon in there, and that's where I wrote. And I sit in my little egg chair with my candles, maybe a glass of something, and just write and stay in the moment. And I didn't want
Wow.
to read anybody else's anything, because I didn't want any of
Right.
their stuff to seep into what I was doing and get a copyright claim.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't tell really anybody that I was doing this because I didn't want any opinions. I
Right.
didn't want any, why are you doing that? I didn't want any doubt. I didn't want any second guessing, and I didn't want any responsibility to others, accountability to others as to when are you going to finish. I give myself a deadline. My editor knew when it was. It was an
Yeah.
important date, our 20th wedding anniversary, and I had that out there in mind. I wrote this book in 5 weeks.
Come on now. So you knew that was ordained to never have written a book, and then you would write a book of this caliber in 5 weeks. That's to anyone. When it's your season, it's your season. When it's your time, it's your time. And I think back on, I think I had mentioned a long time ago. I was like, "Oh, you need to write a book." I ain't gonna write no book. I better tell nobody my business. And
Yep.
because you're so private when it comes to your personal, you're guarded, which of course you need to be in certain set. But it was just the season that it was in. But when you said, you said, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. And it was like, okay, I'm supposed to write a book. So myself and Angela was like, yeah, we knew that.
We've been telling you that.
You would seem like you just found gold. And it was so funny because a lot of times you may see something in a person, whether it's God vision or whatever, but that person has to walk that for
Yeah.
themselves sometimes. And they have to have that one-on-one experience, because if you would have moved on because someone said that, it wouldn't have been the same experience for you. It would not have hit the mark. And the passion that you wrote with, it was just amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, we have to learn to listen to that still
Yes.
small voice, right? We have to learn to be quiet first so we can listen. So many people are just talk, 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 blah, 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 blah. So be quiet, listen,
Yeah.
so that you can hear from God, or who, Allah, whoever you
Who's
look
your
to for,
divine?
for your divine, and He will tell you, she will tell you what you're seeking if you listen. And I was out of sorts at that time. It was just some I don't know what was going on, but I was kind of out of sorts. And I was just being still and listening, and it was like, write the book. Write what book? And then when I spoke it out loud, I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to write the book. And then boom, here I went in the kitchen, I started doing stuff, and the book just started downloading.
Wow. Amazing.
I had to stop cooking, go sit down somewhere, and just say this stuff, because what is happening? And this is the way my songs used to come when I used to write songs.
Okay.
I would go in the studio by myself, sit in a chair, sit under the table, lay down, whatever, just be quiet and listen, and then the song would come. Listen to the music and the song would come. I really never wrote the words down. Most of the time I would sing them.
Wow.
And that's just a
Amazing.
gift that I've been given. All of us have gifts like that, whether, you might be able to, Steph Curry just hit 20 jumpers in a row, or, Oprah can, whatever Oprah can do. But, there are just people with gifts. All of us have gifts and talents if we just will tap into them.
And that's the key, because a lot of times we don't put significance on it because we compare it to other people's gift and we feel like it doesn't measure. But your gift is for you to share with the world, no matter what caliber you think it is. But to someone, if it's saving someone's life, that's big enough. If you can affect one person, that's big enough. And
I am so grateful that I can count about 50 people that swear to me this book has saved them. And I'm like, my God. And it all started with, you mentioned Angela. I first shared a small portion of the story on stage in Miami at a conference, the Free Hive conference.
Yes.
Shout out to Derek Harper, who's a client of mine. And I didn't mean to share the story, but I did in the moment. And after sharing the story, a person came up to me and told me that they were contemplating suicide, and my story made them change their mind.
Wow.
And so that is what I carried with me the whole time. I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing with this? And it culminated in September, write the book. So I was asking the question for over a year, what am I supposed to be doing with this? And still carrying some of the stuff, some of the anger, some of the hurt. I did go to therapy. It was very expensive, but it was worth every dime, to help myself understand what happened. To help myself understand how I'm supposed to not move forward in my life with some of the behaviors that I had that led to the situation, so that I don't attract the same situation back into my life. And when you've been married to somebody for 16 years, you've been with them for 20 years, and then you lose them, you can be very damaged and you can be very jaded, and it's very hard to move forward and into new relationships. And I knew that I needed to make sure that I was whole and able to move forward, whether I was going to go into a new relationship or not. Just me, I needed to be whole. I needed to be a good mother. I needed to make sure my children didn't grow up with daddy issues. And so I sought therapy to make sure that I could see myself outside myself. And I really recommend, like people said, or like Sheila said, just Jesus is wonderful. We all need Jesus, Allah, universe, whoever, but we need therapy. You need Jesus and therapy. Jesus equipped therapists with the tools. God equipped therapists with the tools to help us, just like he equipped doctors with the tools to help us, and lawyers and all the people that have professional skills and talents to help us. There's nothing wrong with going and sitting down. Now you don't even have to go anywhere. I would get on my computer with her and we would do therapy sessions. I've never met my therapist in person.
Wow.
And she's now treating a family member. Once I got to a point where she's like, I think you're okay. Then I pay for a family member who needed the same sort of help to see her, and she still sees her to this day.
Wow.
And it's important that we don't carry stuff that's so heavy. The baggage, mental health is on the bottom of the screen,
Yes.
It's that mental health is health. And it's really as important as making sure that you eat right and making sure that you rest, is making sure that your brain is functioning properly and that you have the headspace to process your emotions and your thoughts and your feelings. My husband would still be here if he had had the proper mental health treatment. And I'm convinced of that based on my therapy. And so what I went to therapy for was to make sure that I don't allow my children to end up in a situation where their mental health has been damaged. And what do I need to do as a parent to parent them in a way that makes sure they're strong? I feed them. I make sure they have a house, clothes, But how do I make sure they're strong mentally so they can endure? These kids these days don't know how to be told no. Children are out here trying to threaten to harm themselves because somebody told them they were ugly. Like, these children don't know how to process pain and rejection and hurt. And then we have people who are hurt, and then they project that on other people. And so we have all these bullies and people that just are so mean and hateful in social media. And it's a new day. We have to be able to raise our children to be resilient and strong. And I am very focused on making sure that I have the tools for that. So whatever your situation is, betterhelp.com, there are just so many resources that you can, apps and stuff. Now, there's no excuse. You can get an app and be in therapy tonight.
That's true.
You know, you can do a meditation app. You can do online therapy. There are phone numbers you can call. There's just so many ways to get help. You don't have to go lay on somebody's couch. So there's no excuse, but the excuse you're giving yourself of why you're not getting the help you need if you've got challenges and we all have challenges.
Get that right. Yes, ma'am, we sure do. And it's so important as far as just to have the conversation. Sometimes, especially in our community, it's sort of taboo after the services is done and now life goes back on. It's just like, oh, don't say nothing. I don't know what to say. And, tiptoeing around the person. But I think it comes with education and speaking, like what is actually needed.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying earlier, when you say, what do you need? You need anything? Just let me know. I am not even thinking about you. That ain't gonna happen. But then also there is the times of your first. And in the book, you talk several times about the first Christmas, the first Thanksgiving. And right after, there were so many holidays right after.
Yeah, because he died in November.
Yeah, and you had to carve the turkey and you messed up the turkey.
My son fainted in the middle of grace over Thanksgiving dinner, and my mother-in-law ended up in the hospital in an ambulance. It was a complete mess because we were trying to press forward and have Thanksgiving dinner like we didn't just lose a big part of our family 3 weeks earlier. Bump Thanksgiving dinner. We really should have just had hot dogs and laid around on the couch and given ourselves that grace, but we're in here trying to have turkey and dressing and do what you're supposed to do. Listen,
no. Sometimes you have to pause and say, it's okay. We don't have to go with the tradition. It's too early, because that's what happened. My brother passed in November as well, like 2 days before his birthday. And then we had his wake on his birthday. And then we then it was Thanksgiving shortly after that. So it was just those first is the hardest times. And for anyone who's listening that you're in that process or have been in that process, a lot of people say, oh, it gets better. I would say different. I wouldn't say it gets better. The pain still hurts, but you grow where you're adapting to it differently, right? So you still miss your loved one, but you grow and you learn how to deal with it and you learn how to move forward and come to a new norm. So those first, they tough though.
They are tough. And once you get through them, if you get through them whole and in one piece, families fall apart. You see, let's say parents that lose a child, they usually end up divorced.
Yes.
Because people don't know how to relate to each other anymore. Maybe the child was sick, and so that was their bond, was a trauma bond of taking care of the child, Or a lot of times when men lose their wives, you look up, they're married 3 weeks later because they don't know how to be alone, and they don't have they didn't give themselves the time to learn how to, okay, maybe not 3 weeks later, but you know what I mean? They don't know how to give themselves the time to honor what was, and then, okay, who am I as a single person and how do I move forward? That was something I'm very cognizant of. I'm still in that who am I as a single person mode. I'm not looking to be off into the next relationship. When God sends that, if he sends that, that's fine. If he doesn't, that's cool too. And
it doesn't make who you are. You have to know who you are.
Who you are, yeah. And you have to take time to do that. And then what you can learn to do, and I'd have a epilogue in the book where I kind of give I'm not a grief counselor. I'm not an expert at this. I'm an expert at some things. This is not it. But I know what I've done and I know where I am. And I know that I'm grateful for the process that I went through. Then you can start to commemorate these dates. I choose to commemorate these dates. I have little mementos, just to remind me of him and to remind the kids of him and to just keep him alive in our memories a little wind chime, with his over a place that was special to him outside on our deck that we used to relax on. And when I hear the wind blow through that chime, I'm like, oh, hey, so on my daughter's 16th birthday that morning, the chime was just going and going. And I was like, he's singing happy birthday.
Oh, I love it.
On his birthday was last week. He would have been 52.
Okay.
And I went outside. My son asked me, would you write a post about Dad and I'll share it? I guess he didn't feel like writing one, but he wanted to share something. So I said, yeah, I plan on it. So I went outside on the deck to give myself the space and, place to write. And as I walked outside, a red bird was sitting in the rose bush. It is February. Birds aren't supposed to be here in Georgia. A red bird is just sitting in the rose bush.
Wow.
And then after I saw it, it flew around in a circle and flew away. And I'm like, happy birthday.
Wow.
So these are little things that some people may call suspicions or whatever, but they give me solace and peace to feel like my loved one is happy, safe, healthy, whole, in the wind, and that works for me. Something else may work for someone else, but you just have to give yourself the space you're not going to forget. Like you said, it's still going to hurt to some extent, but the hurt, it's not like pain anymore. It's like acknowledgement of what was.
Yes.
And I can feel the peace over his spirit.
Yes.
And I feel a peace over our home and over, just little things that just come along and say a little whisper, a little wind, just a little something, because we are all energy and energy never dies. It just changes into another form.
That is so true. That is so true. And then, you have a peace like it's okay. It's okay. And
he's okay. I'm okay. They're okay. We're all okay.
Yeah, let's go. Let's live abundantly in your new norm.
Yeah.
And that's
but
what you have
before
to
I got
do.
to that, I was mad, upset. I was all of the other things, and that's what this book helps people understand, that when you see somebody who's strong, they went through a process. They aren't just strong. They went through a process to get there.
And there was a part in the book where you was talking about you were singing the songs with Bishop William Murphy and Tasha Cobb's Murphy song was "This Is My Season" for grace and for favor, and then Tasha Cobb's song "He Knows My Name." And listen, he knows my name. So when you're in the roughest time in your life, in your seasons, to know to fall back on your faith and lead with your faith. Let's talk about that just a little, because a lot of people don't understand, especially if you was raised in the church, we from the South. Grandparents, your grandparents was the pastors and the archbishops and the bishops and the pastors and the parents. So we have that, and we learn, especially in our community, church is our base, is our foundation, right? But when you get older, you still know it, but then there's comes times where you have to lean back on that faith.
Yes.
So I see that in the book where you was talking about the songs and the different things that you were singing, even that you were singing and you was afraid that one of your children would hear you.
think
you lost your mind.
Going crazy. That woman has finally lost her damn mind. I knew it was going to happen. and as God has it, so that though I didn't. Okay, let me back up. I was listening to those two songs. It's William Murphy's song is called "It's Working," and one of the refrains of the song is "Everything is working together for my good." And I would sing that to myself in a time that it felt like everything was working against me for my ruin. But I was claiming everything is working together for my good. I just got to keep going. It's good. It's working for my good. And I would just stay in that space. And then Tasha Cobb's song was the opposite for me. It was, I'm over here struggling. I'm down. I'm lonely. I'm alone. But he knows my name. No mountain can stop me. No, he holds my hand. So I will be okay. That was, those were my two songs that I just stayed on. And as God works the way he works, by the time a year had passed and I had opened my practice back up, both of those two people theoretically or if I had a door for them to walk through. They both walked through the door and have become my clients. Both William Murphy and Tasha Cobbs Leonard are my clients. And I had an opportunity to share with them that their songs brought me through, and I've had the opportunity to have them both sing those songs live, be present to hear them sing those songs live, and to have, I knew William Murphy at the time. He prayed over me after my husband died. He called me the day and prayed with me, but he wasn't my client. But after all of this went on and COVID and everything, and I reopened my firm, both of them became my clients, and I have close friendships with both of them. And it's just like, this is how God works. If I leaned on people that I didn't even know at a time that I needed them, and at this point when I'm strong, now they're a part of my life. And I think it's there to remind me, he knows my name. It's working together for my good. I don't know. Life is just, God is amazing. And
yes.
Again, as I was saying, if you will be quiet and listen, you will get direction. We spend so much time saying, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Be quiet and listen.
Be quiet and listen all the way. Just hush your mouth, like my grandma would say. Just hush, honey,
yeah,
and sit down.
They had a song back in the day, hush, somebody's calling my name. They knew stuff that we don't know.
Exactly.
They didn't have all these distractions and all this stuff. They knew how to stay plugged in. And then we just have to remember, go back to some of those old Negro spirituals, because they were where we, in our darkest day, we still hadn't touched their best day.
That's right.
So they knew how to tap in and be still and listen for that instruction, and to move in grace. That's one thing I do see Oprah Winfrey do. Maya Angelou did that very, out loud. You see them, in God, I have my intention, and my, you open each day with an intention, and you set your focus on what you want to accomplish, and then you move toward that, instead of just being out here all over the place, doing whatever. And I know I look like a person that's all over the place doing whatever, but it's all very organized and orchestrated, that I'm a singing, songwriting lawyer with a book out.
I love it. But you're doing what you know how to do. Okay, so for those who had not listened to part 1, that's where she got that. Her husband would tell her, do what you know how to do. And that's how she has been living her life. But even in the book, if I can take this moment to read this part, this is in, I don't know what chapter, but it's page 41 for those who have the book. Please turn.
Your hymnal.
Page 40, the hymnal today. It says, do what you know how to do has resurfaced in my life in so many ways. I became a professional recording artist when I was in college because I knew how to sing. Next, a professional songwriter when I was in law school because I had written a song before. Eventually, I stepped into the role of Senior Vice President, Business and Legal Affairs for Dr. J Enterprise. Julius Irvin was a client in my firm, and after a year of representing him, he called me and said, sis, I need you. Let's start a new company. And I said, okay, I've done that before. Do what you know how to do. Every step higher that my career has taken, all the millions of dollars that my clients and I have earned, about 40 million at my last count, honey. Most everything I've ever done was novel to me. The common factor was that there was something about it that I had already knew how to do. So it became my practice to just start with that part that I knew. And the rest will come to me through research or calling someone more experienced for advice. If you simply take the first step, identify what you know how to do, then take that knowledge and add to it. Dig deep, ask experts, and connect with the mentor. That is my process, and I am convinced that it will also help you find your way.
Yep.
I'm like, that's a mic drop moment right there. That advice.
Yep. That's
I have
it.
no words.
That's it, and that's all. That's
Yes.
how I can be a singing, songwriting, author, lawyer, and none of it is a lie.
Yeah.
Because if you and I challenge anyone watching this to just when you finish watching this, or pause it right now, get out a piece of paper and just list your skills and talents. Just write them down. And then go across from each one of them and write what you can do with that. What, if you can sing, what could you do with that? Could you sing in the church choir? Could you, if you have people always tell you have a calm, comforting speaking voice. Can you do voiceover work? Like, literally take what you do or what you know how to do, your skills and your talents, and figure out what that could translate into. And then go after that. Do the part you know how to do. Do the research about what you don't know. Find a mentor who can help you, and then set out to do it. No, everybody is not supposed to be an entrepreneur. Some people, all people are not cut out for this. It's not easy. Also, working a 9 to 5 is not easy. And everyone's not cut out for working a 9 to 5. I'm not, because I'm gonna be late. But but all of us have a passion and a skill. And what I admire about the young generation, our children's generation, then people will follow their passion if it leads them off the cliff. If they don't know how to pay one bill, they're gonna be following their passion. And we weren't raised like that. We were raised to get a good government job and work that job till you turn 50, 62 and a half, and then get a watch and whoop-de-doo, right?
Not a watch.
That's what they gave my grandmother after 50 years of service down at the Metalux, a watch.
Wow.
And I was like, a watch? You couldn't buy a watch for yourself? So each generation gets a little bit more bold, each generation gets a little bit more comfortable. But for the people that are in our generation, that we were raised in the get a job and work it till you can't work no more generation, it's not too late to go make a list of your talents and your skills and what brings you joy, and spend some time. You don't have to do it all the time. It might not pay the bills. It might be a hobby. I ain't making no money off this book. If I am, I don't know it. I was telling Sheila earlier, I don't even keep up with that, because that's not why I wrote the book.
Right.
And when I do get money in from Amazon, I just turn around and buy more books so I can get the book to people. So, everything is not about money. Sometimes it's about being happy and fulfilled and being in your passion and in your flow. And so it all starts with, what do you know how to do?
Come on.
Start doing it. If you feel like you have a story inside of you, just like me, you might say, who cares? Because I said that. Who cares? I have an inbox full of people that care. I have reviews on the Amazon of people who care. I have people who come and sit in a room with me for readings and tell me how much this mattered to them. I have family members who call me and tell me this helped them, because if nothing else, they know I'm okay. It helped my son. We talked about that in the first part. It helped my mother to deal with the anger that she had for this being my circumstance. And you also have something in you that people need. And you have to get out of the way. Make that list, write down what you know how to do. I'm at some point going to do a workbook that guides you through this. Again, I give myself grace to do things at a time that works for my mental health. But there will be at some point a companion workbook to the book that will help you with that. But in the meantime, get out a piece of paper and just start writing down your skills and talents. You don't need me to go through a whole bunch of publishing for you to do that.
Do the work, put the work in, and no excuses. No excuses. This is your life. You have to take control of it.
I would challenge everybody watching this to list at least 5 things that they know how to do. 5 skills and talents. And then see if they align with what you're doing on a day-to-day. And if you aren't doing at least 2 things that you're skilled and talented in, what is life? Maybe that's why you're angry and upset and pissed and stressed out, because you're walking against the flow of your life.
Come on. Listen, you done spoke something. Let me get my little clapper out. Let me.
And because I'm menopausal, I'm gonna get my fan out. Lord.
I love it. That's so much wisdom. So much wisdom.
Girl, that's good therapy. That's good therapy. These are the types of things that therapists help you to work through, as well. I'm not just smart. I've done the work, right? You gotta do the work. There's no reason for us to be out here miserable and sad and hurt and hurting people and arguing and bickering and not speaking to family members, work through your stuff.
That is so
Find
true.
your happiness so you can exude happiness. Because if anybody has a reason to be up here mad and bitter, I'm one of the people that has a right.
Okay. Yeah. But what do you get out of it? It's gonna affect your body because you're holding in that anger and stress. And a lot of people go to the doctor and the doctor's like, well, you're fine. And it's like, no, this is emotional that you're carrying. It's affecting you physically and affects you mentally.
Your blood pressure is up. When people say, you're gonna get my pressure up, that's true. People can get your blood pressure. I was at a point where my blood pressure was high, my blood sugar was going crazy. I mean, I wasn't eating worth a damn. I couldn't sleep. Like, I was just a mess. And I had to get a control of myself. I was over 200 pounds and I used to be 118 pounds fighting weight. I just had to get control of my emotions and all the things that I was doing to sabotage myself. Not on purpose, just grinding, trying to build, trying to chase some carrot. And then I watched my husband die at 48 and I was like, and for what? All the racing and working and stuff he did to try to chase this carrot and didn't get there. And that was a wake-up call for me to say, all right, you gotta be happy. You gotta get in the flow of what's supposed to be happening for you. And you gotta keep these kids in the flow of what their destiny is. So now my daughter, I'll just use her as an example.
Yeah.
She thought she wanted to be a engineer like her dad. And she was like, doing what it seemed like she was supposed to do, right? And when he was an engineer by trade, but he really was very interested in real estate and building houses and luxury homes. And all this stuff you see on these walls, he did all this, he designed all this. And if you can see my ceiling, there's beautiful coffers, and he would draw this out by hand, but he's an engineer. He designed cell phone batteries. That's what he did for a living. But his passion was the architecture and design, but he didn't have any training in that. He just had a skill and talent. He could draw beautifully. And she was following down that engineering path. His oldest daughter, Jasmine, went to North Carolina A&T just like he did, was going into computer science, hated it, but was trying to go through the motions of what she thought she was supposed to do. And when I gave my daughter, Ashley, the permission to, what do you enjoy? Well, I enjoy building houses and designing houses. And she would be on Minecraft and Sims, just making these whole cities. And so, okay, what is that? That's architecture.
Right.
Forget engineering. Let's look at architecture. She is now in her second semester of architecture school. And the designs that this girl is coming up with, she can draw. I had never seen her draw a thing in her life. But when she got into this architecture program, they have drawing classes, and she has a natural talent to draw that she never used. My son draws all the time. He would draw Sonic and little cartoon characters. Yeah. She never drew anything, didn't even color. This girl is drawing full-scale buildings, sitting in front of a building, just looking at it, and this talent is there. And if she had not tapped into it, she could have gone her whole life being an engineer.
Come on. That is so true. And then there's so many parents that pressure their children to go this route. Oh, there's good money in this. You need to go this. Your daddy did this. Your mama did this. And it's just like, and they're caught.
Yeah, because she won't make anywhere near the money she would make as an engineer, as an architect, but she will be happy.
There you go. I love it. You're a good mommy. Oh, you're giving them that freedom to be them and to find out who they are without that extra pressure.
Yes, because it goes back to what we talked about in the first half. If I have done what I have done and I have grinded and I have attained a certain level of success, I can set them up to be trust fund babies so they can have the freedom, because I've earned money and I have stuff away from them, for them. So they can have the freedom to explore they don't have to get it out the mud. They don't have to do what they can do to eat. They're going to be okay, even if they don't make a lot of money, because I'm making sure of that. No matter if I'm here or not, they're going to be okay. So I know I can give them the freedom to follow their dreams. Now, they can't be out here just being a TikTok personality or something, that might phase out later. And I'm not diminishing TikTok personalities, but we don't know how long that'll, stick around. Or what that'll end up looking like. But, if there's something that makes, when she says, is it bad that after class, I just stay and do work because it's fun? Everybody leaves, but I just stay and I design because it's fun. And I'm like, no, that's the point, baby.
Exactly.
To enjoy. And she's 19 and she lost her father at 15 and she's 19 and she's happy and she's doing something that makes her happy and she has fun in college, in the classroom, not at the party, because that's where we have fun, at the party. She's in class. This girl, I don't think this girl has been to the party. And I'm not saying that because she's like, I don't go to parties. I'm saying that because we can track them. I can track them. She'd be at home. She's in the studio. I just am so grateful that, again, the work I did was for them and for me, but for me to be able to have the good sense to not be out here in scramble mode and panicking. You need to major in computer science because those people looking for Black girls, you know.
Okay.
And this is what we did to Jasmine. She's now almost 30. We put her in a computer science program because they promised certain incomes, and it's like, but she's not happy. She wasn't happy. We learn from our mistakes. And so make your list, people. You might not be 19, you might be 52, but make your list. What are your talents? What makes you happy? Do at least one of those things. I promise you, it'll balance you out. You can get up and go to that job you hate on Monday because all weekend you might have been on your TikTok shop selling something that you enjoy making. And that's balance.
Love it. That is balance. Yes. I love it. I love it. So we have an update on the children. They're doing well. Your son, Tay, he's a respectful young man. He has a sense of humor. Did he get that from his mom or his dad?
Me. I'm more silly. His dad is more sarcastic. His humor was super dry. You almost be offended. He was super sarcastic. I'm sarcastic too, but I'll smile while I'm saying something sarcastic. So Tay is very much like me. He's grown this full afro. I have the least amount of hair in my household. I chopped all my hair off.
That's in the book too. You got to read that part in the book.
Yep,
and her daughter was her barber.
Yep. And hadn't been to a barbershop in, what has it been, 3 years since I cut my hair off? Still haven't been to a barber. I'm cutting it myself, if I do say so myself.
Hey, listen good, girl.
And he's into photography. He's interested in film. He was going to be a lawyer. To that point, he was going to be a lawyer. He was going to be a lawyer. And I was like, bro, I don't know about that. Like, why you want to be a lawyer? It's not really what it looks like, Yeah. And I was just honest with him. I can pass this law firm down to you, but I don't think you're 16. I don't know if I'm going to hang on for you to go to law school, to be honest with you.
Yes.
I don't know. And I don't know if this is what you want to do. He thought he wanted to be a criminal defense lawyer. And again, this is people doing what they think is expected. And at some point he's like, I think I'm interested in film. Great.
Okay.
It's wonderful. What do you like about film? Let's get you into film camp. Let's learn about the different aspects of film. Again, that my children will not be getting nothing out no mud if I have something to say about it. And I didn't have to get it out the mud. My parents didn't have to get it out of the mud. Every generation made the way for the next one to be able to do what they know how to do. And so now he's in a phase where he's like, well, I don't think I actually want to work in film because the jobs are kind of hard to find. And it's kind of, and I'm like, yeah, but why can't you be the exceptional one that gets the job?
Period. That's right.
And also I know people. That's how this works. That's how they do this. They set their children up.
Connections. That's right. Sometimes
I can have you on a lot this summer. If you want to work on a lot, you'll be working on a lot. Which one do you want to be on? So I'm not going to let him talk himself out of his dreams, Right. Now, maybe it doesn't work out, but it won't be for trying. That's all. And that's really what I'm trying to convey. I'm not just bragging on my kids. I'm trying to convey to people, just don't talk yourself out of. I almost talked myself out of writing this book.
Yes,
and
even down to the wire. It was done. The book was done. He was like, I'm changing my mind, y'all. Like, what? What? And we have already read the manuscript, so we knew the power that it had. And my experience when reading it, it touched my soul. It reached down and I had this feeling it was like in my heart, like I felt it and it just lingered because it had so much in it. And it was just like, oh my goodness. And then by the time it finished, it was just like, I was holding my breath, like basically reading the book the whole time. I'm holding my breath. Okay, what's happening next? It's like, okay, we got a breath. Oh God, you mean what? The car, the accident, what? And the trash can. We didn't even talk about the trash can.
I got to read the book to find out what happened with the trash can.
You have to read the book. You have to find out about the trash can. You have to find out about the car. What did you name the car after it was over? it always won the car that brought you through
Oh,
because
my
it was
trusty friend. Yes. It's a
yes.
trusted friend that I can rely on.
Yes, yes. Listen, all of these pieces you have to tap in because I know you're going to see yourself in whatever situation that you're in, and it's going to give you some key points and some guidance of how to get out of where you are. It's going to help you get unstuck from
Because baby, we
where
were
you are.
stuck. We were 3 people stuck in a 2-seater because I didn't have nothing else to work with. I mean, it was bad. And I mean, and I'm saying it was bad. It could have been worse. I
Yeah,
get it. I have a car. I had a home. you know,
right.
I had a trash can. But um, when you first read it, and Angela first read it, and a few other friends I trusted first read it, and you were saying that it touched your soul, I still didn't get it until I read it back, like I said, about 2 weeks ago, as if I didn't know these people, and I was just like, oh my God, these poor people. Oh my goodness. Oh, what?
Mm-hmm.
Hope they're okay. I got to go to the next page to see what happens to these people. Jesus Christ, And then I got it. I can receive what you're saying now because I read it in that way.
Yeah.
And God sustained us. I just, I don't take credit for being on the other side of that. And when I say that we've come through and we're healed, I'm saying that because of how we were. Not that there won't be days that will be challenging in the future,
Right.
but we have the tools and the skills to be able to work through them
Yes.
at this point.
Most definitely. And I love how you gave some steps just like you're giving now, but also how the way the order of the book was, that was number one, because you started at the end first. It's like, what? You just gave
That's
it
how
to
I
us.
download it.
Oh my goodness. And then towards the end, you have to read the book how it was your birthday, your 50th birthday. That was amazing. The party. Listen, y'all have to read the book. I cannot wait until it becomes audio because reading it is one thing, but then to hear it is another.
Yeah. Yeah. I realized that today when you were reading in part 1, I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, hearing this is affecting me totally different than reading it and totally different than writing it. And I don't know how saying it will affect me. So I just give myself again the grace and space to work through that. I'll do what I know how to do. I'll see how it feels and I'll get through it.
Most
Because
definitely.
there are people that, I've had people reach out to say I'm neurodivergent. I can't really read. I can't really concentrate to read,
Right.
even a book that's 112 pages, but I can digest it as an audiobook or just to be able to reach more people who maybe just don't read, because of
Right.
time.
That's so true.
Um,
So you mentioned, okay, so if you do the audio book, you mentioned that, eventually it's going to come a companion journal or workbook. So, what else do we have? Where do we go else from here? Because it has helped so many people. And I know when you first released it, we was on Zoom and people were telling their stories and you was giving advice there. And I knew it depleted you a lot.
yeah.
But at this point, where do you see it going from here? The book is here.
Mm-hmm.
The workbook is coming. What's next?
So you're right. It depleted me because I didn't know how to receive the energy of grieving people. Again, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a grief counselor. I'm a lawyer and a mom. And so it was so much, and I was excited. So I was coming in a space where I'm excited to be finished with this. I have it in my hands. I did it, right? And I was just excited. And it was kind of incongruent with what the story is. So I didn't realize that people were reading the story and they were like, oh, and I'm like, yay. So it was off. The energy was off. And so now I'm in a space where I've taken the time because everything I'm saying, I do. I've taken the time to stop and digest it and understand what my role is, what the story, how it affects people, and how to receive what they're giving. And so when I did my live reading, I just opened up the floor and said, all of us have been touched by grief. Is there anyone that wants to share their story? So then I had my mind ready to hear their story, as opposed to, let's talk about how I'm fine now,
Right.
Because that release day for me was like a celebration. It was our anniversary. I had a friend over. We had champagne and food, and I'm just snacking, and people are like, I lost my birthday at 72. You know,
You weren't ready.
Nope.
Oh,
and
wow.
we don't get it right. I didn't get that day right for everybody. It worked for me, but I didn't get it right. And then it set me back a little bit. So I gave myself, like I said, the space, the time. I took a few more trips and thought about it, read it again.
Okay.
You know, so now I think that the thing that's going to serve me and everybody else best is in-person readings where, you know, I can read or maybe even have someone read, because hearing you read was different than me reading.
Okay.
So that I can get into the space of where I was to be able to meet people where they are if they want to go back to that space. So I think we'll do in-person readings. I know we're going to have the journal. I just don't know when. I know we'll have the audiobook.
Okay.
Just don't know when.
I just see a tour. I see a tour in a sense. Like you're touring different people's platforms. You're going and speaking to them, you know, prerequisite. They have to get the book, read it, and then ask questions, share a little of their story.
I definitely want to do a tour, you know, people that I know and trust that want to have me come to their city and set up something. I'm happy to do that. I really do see that, and where they can bring people out who, you know, who, again, everybody's grieving something. So bring people out who want to be in the space of unloading some of that, getting unstuck. And I mean, you know, there've been a lot of different ideas. My editor, because she was all in it, and she lost her mother, and her father is, she's his caregiver. So she was all into the story the whole time with me. She's like, you need to have a lot of wind chimes. You need to have those little daily affirmations, you know, where, you know, and I'm like, maybe, you know, who knows? So I'm just, like I said earlier, I'm listening, I'm receiving guidance, I'm being quiet and still to see what makes sense and what works and what I can accomplish with it. But definitely the tour, definitely the in-person, you know, moments where we can share and support each other and just let people get the stuff off their chest. Definitely the audiobook, so that I know it helped me to hear it. So I know that's something I have to do to help people to hear it. And you know, we'll see. I
listen, I see a retreat, honey.
I see that.
A grief retreat. Do what you know how to do, grief retreat. Come and get unstuck.
I hear that. A healing retreat.
Healing retreat. Yes.
I see that. I definitely see that.
So many people needed to get to the next level and live abundantly, to live free.
We get one life. Yeah. Why are you living crappy and sad and blah? You know, and I'm a person, you know, for my birthday, was that my birthday? Yeah, my birthday. I went to Costa Rica because I wanted to sit in the mud bath and the hot springs and just be.
Just be.
You know, and I'm a person that I'll get on a plane and go do something weird like that, you know, and sometimes people need permission to, come on, let's go do the mud baths and let's get in the hot springs. And so I see that, you know, somewhere in Costa Rica, Belize, someplace that's just peaceful and more in tune with nature. You know, I'll do my Ritz-Carlton trips too, but I feel like for what you're describing, those are, you know, that's more in tune with us just being able to give ourselves the grace and the space. I'm not just saying stuff. This is really how Sheila knows me. This is how I live my life.
Yes,
and,
it is.
And grace and a timing that doesn't make sense to other people sometimes, to where I'm just like, be still.
Be still.
Heal from the inside out. You know, it all works together, mind, body, spirit. And I definitely, if there are people that are, you know, open for that, then I'm open for that.
Most definitely. I definitely can see that. It's so much that, and when, and you said before about being your God project, your passion project, it is bigger than we can even imagine. This is just the beginning. And this is just the tip of the iceberg for you and this project, because we serve a big God. We serve a mighty God. So what he has envisioned for you is I want you to just prepare yourself. So go on and get your me time and all these trips out the way, because you're about to be busy, sis.
Look, I've learned not to discount anything you say. So, okay. Yeah, and when God shows up in my life, he shows up big. Like everything that I've ever done has always been big. I'm
Yes.
not gonna just be the lawyer. I gotta be the celebrity lawyer. Like that's just how my life. I'm not just singing in the church choir. I gotta write songs and they gonna be on the radio. That's just how my life is. And
And you
I've
get
come to
gold
accept
records. Don't forget that.
it. Yeah, and then end up winning awards. And
Wow.
I moved through a lot of my life saying stuff falls in my lap. Now I'm wise enough to know that no, these are blessings that are placed in my life. And so I can see that falling in my lap because it just that's the way my life goes, and that's okay. And maybe I had to go through everything that happened to be able to come to the realization of where my help comes from. Maybe that's what this was all about.
Come on. And when people go through so many things and they just feel like, oh my God, I'm never going to get a break, but there's a reason on the other end. The thing for you to do is just keep pushing forward. Just keep pushing forward. Understand that you're going to see your purpose on the other side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
I
greater.
never operate in the thought process of I'm never going to get a break or why me. I never operate like that. I operate more like, what do I need to do to move through this?
Yeah.
How do I get past this? I never do woe is me or why me. I don't.
So many people live like that.
I know.
And that's what stops them too, because that mindset stops them. Instead of saying, I got to keep moving forward, it's woe is me. And the Lord knows if they don't get no support from the mama and the daddy and all the June bug in them.
Now they ain't speaking. Yeah. And so what this book did for me, the best way I can put it is, because when people would see me, because of COVID, remember, a lot of my friends didn't see me for 2 years. My husband died, they came to a funeral, and then they didn't see me for 2 years.
Yeah.
So when they see me at homecoming or something 3 years later, and they're like, oh, and I'm like, girl, pass me some cookies. Right? And so it was weird because they were stuck where I was at a funeral that was in 2019 and it's 2020, 24. So writing this and allowing people to see that I already went where you think I was, it gives me the freedom to be like, pass me some cookies.
Yeah.
And not feel guilty or feel like, a lot of times, I'm saying this to say, a lot of times we give people what we think they want from us.
Come on.
And I wasn't, aware enough to think I was supposed to go to homecoming like the Black Widow,
Okay. Right.
3 years later. Now, the first year, if they would have had it, I wouldn't have been there, because I wouldn't have been able to handle it. But we are allowed to move along in life and not be stuck. And we don't have to play the role of the pitiful person for other people's benefit.
Come on. That was powerful right there, for other people's benefit. And then to get that attention, and then that's going to be a negative attention, and then you're going to get used to it. And then when it's not around, then what do you have? Nothing.
And that's why people's marriages fall apart when a child dies or graduates and moves out of the house and they don't even know each other because they haven't even shown up as who they are. They're just mom and dad. Well, who am I married to? Mom? I don't want to be married to mom. Nobody's mama. Who is my wife?
Wow.
A lot of times, especially as we're going through our transitions in life as we age, there are people that you realize that they thrive off control or pity or woe is me or emergencies. You have to identify in your life when you're being the Debbie Downer. My son used to do this all the time. Every time we would say something, he would find the negative and we would call him Debbie just to point it out and break him out of it. Like, Debbie. Yeah. Okay, Debbie. And my husband was a Debbie Downer. He was an engineer. So his job was to think of what could go wrong. Okay. And I'm like, what could go right?
Right.
And so, that's another exercise. I need to get my pen out or start dictating. I'll watch this back, but that's another exercise. How can we flip the script and the narrative in our mind to not see the glass as half empty? Bump the glass. Don't even worry about the glass.
Oh my goodness.
We get in these roles. I have people in my life that the whole context of our relationship was what they could control about me or what they could get to through me, access to something, or how they could look because they are affiliated with me.
Right.
And my clients, it's even worse for them. I'm not famous, right? So, I mean, I've watched how people operate around celebrities. It's a beautiful case study to watch people when they get around famous people, just to see, the stuff they let, and it's not even the people, it's the stuff they let the famous people get away with, and how it changes them. There's a lot that we can, if we look inward, we get still, we get quiet, we listen, we can grow and not be, there's no reason to not be speaking to your family members or, being mean to people, holding a grudge from something that happened in 1974, hurting them.
Can't even remember what the problem was. It was so minor.
But
she stepped on my toe. Baby, my left eye got cataracts. I didn't even see your toe.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And how much time has been missed? Y'all could have been on cruises together, enjoying life, I don't know. Like I said, when your husband dies abruptly at 48, you just realize, you know what? A whole bunch of stuff that we thought mattered didn't matter.
Don't matter. That is so true. That is so true. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for all your wisdom that you dropped. I think this is actually part 3. I might have to slice this up because it was such good gems and good advice and a guide and a blueprint. It was so many things encompassed in one. I thank you for sharing. I thank you for being a part. I thank you for being transparent in your book and being that vessel to help so many people to get healed and to get unstuck. If you have not purchased this book, go to dowhatyouknowhowtodo.com, and all links is in the show notes. So please click on those, including the easylegaldocuments.com. And also, if you want to reach out and get help with your trademarks, with trust, different things, go into her website. Just click the links in the show notes. So as we exit, Attorney Dorna Jenkins Taylor. And listen, every time I always talk about a church mother or something, I always say Mother Jenkins. And then you was like, wait, that's my mama.
That's my mama.
No disrespect, Mama Jenkins. But with everything being said, what is some advice that you want to leave out with for our viewers? Any advice that you want to share as we close?
Oh, Lord, I think I've probably just word vomited advice for the past hour, but I'm just going to repeat, what I've been saying. Just give yourself grace. Take off the mask of what you think people expect of you, and write down what your passions are, what you're good at, and find at least one thing that you really would bring you happiness, and start doing something associated with that thing, and give yourself the grace and the space and the time to do it unapologetically. Don't neglect your responsibilities, but you can find 5 hours on a Saturday if you want to color in a coloring book and you have an artistic skill, just do that. Balance yourself out. Give your central nervous system time to relax and not be on all the time, right? So it's okay. It's not selfish to spend time nurturing yourself, the things that you need. It helps make you a better person for the people that need you.
I love it. I love it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me on the Sheila C Hill Show. I'm a watch. I enjoy the show, and so I'm honored to be a guest on the show. And probably your longest show. I don't know. I think we've been on here as long as Cat Williams and Shay Shay at this point.
But I knew it was going to be, and like I was telling you, as I'm preparing for the show, I was so giddy because I know the backstory for before the book, and then the book was so effective. It was just so effective, and I was just so giddy to bring you on so I can share it with other people in other countries, because people need to know your story, and they need to know, even on the professional side, of what you do and how you have a heart and a passion to help people. You're not just one of those attorneys, those celebrity attorneys that don't care and it's all about the dollars. I wanted people to see you and to see your heart. And that's why I'm so grateful that you was able to come on and listen. I knew it was going to be long, but listen, you brought it, baby. You brought it.
Well, no, I thank you. You're a great facilitator. In fact, I think what we didn't say was when I did that first live reading, and I was just overwhelmed, you stepped in and started moderating to get me through that evening. So I thank you for that. Because I was just like, what is this? This is not what I wasn't mentally prepared for. And you stepped in and you started interviewing me and kind of just helping guide us back to listen, people.
Right. To the point of why we're here.
We can't do your dead husband. We're talking about hers, you know.
Only one dead husband at a time. Come on, people.
It's too much. So, and we can laugh about that, and that's not, you know, that seems weird, maybe weird to somebody, but look, it is what it is. You know, you can only cry for so long. And so, you know, I appreciate that. I should have known this would be, I did know this would be wide ranging. I didn't know it would be as wide ranging as it got, but, you know, I've had several revelations of things I need to do in this process, which happens when you and I talk.
Yes.
So, you know, we just let your audience, you know, eavesdrop on our conversation. That's all.
Basically, that's basically it, because we can have these conversations, especially with the book before you actually released it. As we was talking, you was like, tell me what are your thoughts. Woo, woo, just a fly on the wall, honey. I love it. I love it because it's just, it's so touching. It's so moving. And you are super dope. So I'm so glad to have you on here. And say, I know you, my celebrity lawyer. Thank you for showing. I'm going to bring you backstage and I'm going to close on out. Listen, I know, guys, this was one for the books. This is one for the records. Having attorney Dorna Taylor on to share her life and to be transparent, only to help you. So just know that you are loved enough that someone is here to give you the tools and the blueprint to help you to heal, to get unstuck, and just know that you are worth it. You are worth to put the work in and to get that healing. Okay. So thank you for tuning in. It's time to go. Until next time on the Sheila C Hill Show. Take care. Have a blessed day.